About this watch, let me set the record straight here right now. In 1953, Rolex sponsored, by the way, not just in 1953, the many years prior to that, they supported and they sponsored the climb to the summit of the Mount Everest. And Juicy,
I can see a train over there. I can see its little lights over there.
How the f can they ever take me serious looking like this? I look like a f***ing clown. Can I take this off, please?
You take the hat off.
Mate, I'm looking like a f***ing clown.
Keep that.
No. I'm a serious watch guy, watch collector. That's Hardy again.
Yeah.
This time grabbing his dick. But let me see what watch he's wearing. I just need to zoom in, not to look at his dick. I need to look at his watch. It's really hard to see. This is annoying. Who's the guy on the left? He looks like the guy from 100 Explorer Date. And not the
And we got
Date.
one that we're full.
Date.
Watch out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know. Although the Air King Date is considered quite rare, not massively desirable.
Hey.
The rarest of them all is the Rolex Explorer Date. I believe that the Rolex Explorer Date was in production since the late 50s to the early 60s, and then it moved to the Air King Date. The Air King being, of course, a more famous line than the Explorer Date line. At that era, they were experimenting with the name Explorer. We talked about this before. Sir Edmund Hillary bringing a Rolex watch with him to the summit of the Mount Everest in 1953. Rolex later adapted the name Explorer for that watch. Now, the Rolex that was actually brought to the summit of Mount Everest wasn't a Rolex Explorer. I would actually argue to say it was a modified Rolex Oyster Perpetual. During those years after the exploration of Mount Everest, you see Rolex experimenting more with names on the dials. I believe after 1962, 1963, the Air King Date was introduced with the same reference number, 5700. I'm not entirely sure what the exact time frame is of the Air King Date, but the reference number 5700 was in production for quite some time. At the moment, there's only a handful of Explorer dates available, some of which I have my doubts about. But I think if you really want to purchase an Explorer date, you should do that throughout proper vintage watch dealers. I would argue to say that the value will fluctuate, of course, depending on condition, probably between $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 upwards to $20,000. Masterworks is a great option for people who are looking to start investing money. Masterworks has over $750 million of art. This is not this crypto bullshit. This is the actual real deal. Real artwork, real artists. For example, Picasso, Banksy, people you actually heard of. To date, Masterworks has paid out over $47 million to their investors. It's actually mind-blowing and crazy to think that you can own a percentage, a piece of a real Picasso. Where else would you be able to get your hands on that? That's absolutely insane. And over 790,000 people to date have signed up for Masterworks. And new people are joining every single day. And because they're limited amount of art pieces, there are waiting lists. And because I am the daddy, you guys can click on the link below and skip that line of people and start investing today. I would love you guys to support Masterworks as much as you support me. Because with that, you actually support yourself as well. Rolex watches you've never heard of. Number 2. It's actually number 2, 3, 4. No, I'll just put them all in one category. The Air category. Do you know what I'm gonna say here?
The Air Lion.
Yes? Yeah? At the beginning of the Second World War, Rolex introduced the Air series. 3 watches starting with the word Air. And indeed, you're right. The Air Lion, the Air Giant, and the Air Tiger. These are 3 Rolex watches that were specifically made for pilots. During the Second World War, the RAF pilots, military pilots, needed more precise and more accurate watches. And Hans Wilsdorf delivered with the Air series. The Air Lion, the Air Tiger, and the Air giant. Now you would say there's also an Air King. I'll come to that later, because this is the actual reason why the Air King was introduced. Airline, the Air Giant, the Air Tiger are extremely rare watches today. I wouldn't say that they're very expensive because there's not a massive demand for them. Of course, we all know the Air King, and today the Air King is the only one that is still in production today. For me, the coolest part of this actual story and of these actual watches is the Air King was introduced to celebrate the RAF pilot.
Police reported ahead.
That is cool, and that's why it's called King. I haven't seen any of them on the market for years, and before we shot this video, I had a quick look at what the prices would be today, but there's none for sale. So yes, they're considered extremely rare. I have seen one in the last 5 years being sold in around the $4,000 or $5,000, I believe. The third Rolex watch you've never heard of is the Rolex Commando. The Rolex Commando, reference number 6429, a watch that was in production from the late 60s. Purchase. That is the steal of the century, and this is how man got away from their Kickstarters. They literally gave the world value for money, the best proposition you can imagine. For that, I just want a big W in the chat. Where are we going now? I want to go to Austria. Is Hitler not from Austria? No, that's not a swear word. You can say so much about Austria. They like skiing, they like ice skating, they like communist leaders. Like, okay, he's dead. He's dead a long time, to be fair. Hitler. They love